and here to talk about the power of love. Please welcome the Reverend Nancy Berggren.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. I won't be up here to say that when Valentine's Day comes, so now I get to say it right now. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't want to miss it, you know. I don't want to miss it. So I'm talking about the power of love. And there's so much love in delving into these books that I'm working with Walter Starkey and Wayne Dyer, who dedicate their whole lives to being love and to bringing forth these pearls of wisdom. They take years to come forward with one idea, and we're all inspired and blessed by it to such a degree. And so it's such a privilege to delve deeply into these teachings in order to find the gems to bring to class on Tuesdays. And it's not easy. Walter Starkey's sentences are this long. It's like Troward stuff, you know. They don't boil down into sound bites very easily. So because of that, I get to go through it and through it and through it and through it until it kind of soaks into my DNA, and I get all revved up with it. So I'm kind of revved up today, and I want to talk about prayer, and I want to talk about prayer heals. Prayer changes things on a fundamental level. And Ernest Holmes suggests in The Science of Mind that all healing comes forth on the wings of love. That love is the greatest healing and drawing power in the universe. In fact, holds the whole universe together. And so love is that healing power. So how does that work? Well, Anita, in Wayne Dyer's book, had a near-death experience. She was dying. She had a few hours to go. And she went to the other side. And one of the gems that she came back with was cancer-free, by the way. One of the things that she came back was that we are energy first. We are energy first. And the forms that we experience flow out of the energy that we create with our own beliefs and attitudes. So we're energy first. And quantum physics proves that thought can move energy, right? Thought can move energy. So we exist in this field of energy of our own making, out of which forms flow. So if we don't care for the form that shows up, we can move back to the energy that created it and shift that form. So a shift in energy creates a shift in form. Let's say that. A shift in energy creates a shift in form. So you are energy, I am energy, and we have the power to create the forms in our lives that we choose by directing the energy of our lives. So my thoughts, backed by my feelings, create the forms in my life. Let's say that. My thoughts, backed by my feelings, create the forms in my life. So everybody take a breath. If your week didn't look so hot, that might not feel so good right now. Mine feels really good. Mine feels okay. But, and it doesn't matter what the form is that we want to change, because the energy that creates the forms is neutral. It can create anything we want, anything we choose. Big or small has no idea about that. It just says okay and yes to us, right? So in 1944, Neville wrote this. It's not all that brand new, you know what I'm saying? 1944, he wrote this: a change of feeling, which is an energy, creates a change of destiny. And that's how prayer changes conditions. A change in the energy creates a change in the condition, okay? So I want to talk about my friend Esther. How many have heard about my friend Esther? Okay, so Esther has been my prayer partner for about the last 15 or 20 years. And we have walked through many challenges together. We've been there for each other through thick and thin. And Esther was a single mom, raised 2 kids on her own, struggled through that, but created a really prosperous nail business and served zillions of customers, did mine, and then went on to be a prosperous real estate agent, bought this gorgeous condo. She furnished it so beautifully, it should have been on House Beautiful. It really should have. But she'd been alone for 35 years. It was like enough already, you know? And so she began to pray. As we pray each week, she began to pray for miracles in her life. And the miracle she was praying for was that relationship, that one divine, holy, perfect relationship. And in walked Harv. Hi, Harv. In walked Harv. Her dreams were coming true. It was fabulous. They live in a fabulous home in La Costa. When I went there the first time, I kept getting lost. And so for a kick, Esther made a sign and put East Wing with an arrow. And that was my wing over there. It was very fun. I mean, they're just delightful people. They travel all over the world. But Harv wasn't 100% satisfied because being a single woman, Esther worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. So she was working 6 days a week. And Harv wanted more of Esther. So over time, she let go of the nail business. She sold her condo. And those were the things, remember, that for 35 years had sustained her. Anybody know what I'm talking about here? That independence, that feeling of security, those are the things that had made it possible for her to live the life she was living. And it was not easy to let them go. But bit by bit, she did. But she was still working at Trader Joe's 5 days a week, which she loves. She loves Trader Joe's, but it's very physical. And she'd had 3 injuries in the last year, probably, wrist, back, knee. And she'd had some physical therapy and stuff, and she went before she was going to go before a disability a board to see whether she qualified for disability. But with Obamacare, she had to work 5 days a week to keep her insurance. And she's going to be 65 in July. Stay with me here. This is a really good story. You don't want to miss it. Esther's going to be 65 in July. She said it was okay. I asked her. She said it was okay. So she wanted to keep her insurance by working 5 days until July when she turned 65. But the body was not, the spirit was willing, but the body was really lagging a bit behind. So she was going before the disability board, and she called me for prayer. So this is what you have to know about Esther. Esther is one of the most loving, giving, generous people I have ever known in my life. She was raised in a Pentecostal family. She said that's just what we did. So she would pick up like a 92-year-old woman who couldn't drive and couldn't get out and take her to lunch once a month. And when the people that in her nail business couldn't get to her, she'd go to their house and do their nails. And that's just what she did. She was just a giver, always behind the scenes, always quietly, never any fanfare, never expecting anything in return. So this was my prayer for Esther. I said, Esther, all the love, all the generosity, all the givingness of heart, of spirit, of love, of soul you have given for 35 years, now multiplied returns to bless you, to pour down on you, and to bless your life, greater than you could ever dream, more than you ever asked. And that's the truth for Esther right here, right now. I said my word. She went before the disability board, and they turned her down. So she went to the captain at Trader Joe's, and she said, this is my deal. What can you do for me? So he's not supposed to, but he gave her 3 days a week, kept her insurance intact until July, and gave her a raise so that her income would be commensurate with what it was before. She was so excited. She called Harv on the phone, and they were so excited. She just started her day at Trader Joe's. He said he was so thrilled. This was his dream, her dream come true. When you get home, we'll celebrate. So exciting. So she finished her day, and she's so excited she couldn't wait to get home to wrap her arms around him, see what kind of celebration. He's such a lover. I know he's got something fabulous, some surprise for her. Celebrated. She just couldn't wait to get home to find out what it was. She turned the corner, and there in the driveway was a black IS 250 Lexus. He bought her a Lexus as a surprise. So see, what I'm saying is that, and this is, she called me, she was giggling on the phone. She said, that's what you said. You said more than I could have dreamed, more than I could have asked. And when the universe is always listening. And when you're pouring out so much good, so much love, givingness, the universe has to return it to you in some form. So Esther is now the owner of a fabulous black Lexus. Yay for Esther! Ernest Holmes wrote in What We Believe, which he wrote in 1926 in The Principles of What We Believe. Two of the things he wrote is, we believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. This power of this mind is the one mind, the mind that we're all using. But we don't believe it. We don't trust it. We don't understand that it is the whole mind, the whole universe that we're using when we speak our word. And when we speak our word, understanding that, the limitlessness of it all, the infinity of it all, then miracles can flow to us in greater ways than we ever dreamed. And the other thing is that a trained mind is more powerful than an untrained mind. So we create a shift from I can't to I can, or from it can't happen, it can't be done, because these are the rules. I mean, I got the facts. I can prove it to you. It can't be done. And yet it can. When we create that shift in energy through the power of love and prayer, shifts happen. It's fabulous. It doesn't matter what the form is because the energy is neutral. So then all that matters, if the energy is neutral, how do we create that shift? That's where practitioners come in. See, this is not something that we dabble in on weekends because we're bored. Because we have nobody to play canasta with this weekend, and our reality show has ended. You know, that's not it. We are professional practitioners licensed by the state of California to practice this healing art. And we dedicate ourselves every day to touch into that deep core of our own being, of your own being. So that if at any moment when the phone rings, at any moment when someone steps up to us, in that moment when you come to us, we're instantly there. We instantly touch back to that center. And when we're one with that center and we speak our word from that place of power, it is God that speaks the word. And lives shift, conditions change, forms change, and we say that a healing has taken place. Right? We say that a healing, but here's the thing. We don't get to diss the parts of ourselves that we don't like. We don't get to only love ourselves on the day when we're shining. We also get to love ourselves on the days when we're not so shining. I know you don't experience that, but in my life, it's happened once or twice. So actually, happened this week. And Friday, I was on the 5 freeway when the rig turned over. I was on my way to CarMax because I'd had a Bluetooth put in my fabulous new car, but the guy hadn't been able to sync it, so I had to go back to get it synced. So I was on the 5, sitting there, and I made phone calls, I called people, I said some prayers, I was okay. So I got to CarMax, and he's explaining to me how it works, and when he explained to me how it worked, I went, well, that doesn't make any sense. I paid $400 for something that's no different than the one I already have in my ear. So I said, let's take it out. So they took it out, and I got my $400 back, and so that's good. It was okay. I went home, and I got some gas on the way home. It was cold. It was really cold. I got back in the car. I thought, I'm just going to turn the heater on just for a minute, just warm up before I get home. It didn't work. The guy had to get under the dashboard to take out the Bluetooth, that the wires went under there, and somehow or other, something got bumped, something got disconnected, and it was the 30 days of my 30-day warranty was up that day. And I was in Santa Clarita, and CarMax is in Burbank, and I'd just gotten back. So I called them on the phone. They didn't answer. I left a message. I said, I am not happy. I have a lot of work to do today, and I don't have a choice. It's my 30-day warranty. I have to turn around and go back. But they get so busy, I thought they might not be able to help me, so I called my sales manager, this adorable little blonde Adonis. Just want to adopt him. He's so cute. Ian. So I called Ian. I left him a message. So when I got there, Ian was there, and Ernesto was there, and they looked very worried. Now, on the way, I had a choice to make. I thought, I can be pissed off, I can be agitated, frustrated, irritated, and give them a lot of hell, or I can just love them. So I decided to just love them. Ian looked so worried, poor baby. And I said, it's okay. You know, it's just an accident. Something just got bumped. It's no big deal. They'll put it back together. And he told me he had another customer on the way in who was really ticked off. And I said, I am fine. Don't worry about anything. They got it fixed. I went home, barely walked in the door. The phone rang. I had a 2 o'clock appointment that changed to 1. Rush out. So that was kind of how my day went. But here's the thing. We can choose to act from our own decisions from the inside and choose how we want to show up in the world, or we can let others affect how we can react to what someone else is giving us, is throwing at us from the world, and we can react to that, which is not really a choice. It's just a reaction. And I just chose to love them. They're just doing their job. And so the day worked out perfectly. Ernest Holmes wrote in The Science of Mind, since we are thinking beings and cannot stop thinking, and since creative mind receives our thought and cannot stop creating, it is always creating something for us. What it makes depends wholly on what you are thinking, and we shall attract what we shall attract what we shall attract depends on that upon which our thoughts dwell. Blah, blah, blah. So we can't stop thinking. Has anybody ever tried that in meditation? You try to stop thinking? It's pretty impossible. Well, guess what? The creative mind, that infinite creator that holds the whole universe together, it can't stop either. If it stopped for an instant, everything would disappear. So we can't stop thinking, and it can't stop creating, and what it is creating depends on the thoughts on which we dwell. And we get to choose that. We get to choose in each moment, regardless of the condition that faces us, regardless of how life shows up, we get to choose whether to come from a place of love or to come from a place of anger or resentment or bitterness because life isn't fair. Life just is. Life just is. And we get to choose how we show up in life. So the more loving, and it also says, Ernest Holmes also says that we cannot swing out into the universe without love, because the whole universe is based on love. So the more we love, the more we give, like Esther, the more we give unconditionally and all-inclusive. That means the parts of us that we don't so much like. When we cut off one part of ourselves, the whole self suffers, because we're just one being. So we have to love all of ourselves. And remember, Ernest Holmes says, above all, have a consciousness of love, a radiant feeling flowing through you at all times. Love the God that you are. Love the God that your neighbor is. Jesus came to take the 10 commandments and put them into 2. And the 2 commandments are all about love. Love God and love your neighbor. How are you supposed to love your neighbor? Like yourself. So love yourself, love God, love the God that you are. And love the God and the person that's sitting next to you. Turn to the person next to you and say, I love the God that you are. Now say, I love the God that I am. I see a lot of kissing going on here. And that's good, because this is the month of love. So let's say our affirmation again. Love is what I am. Love is what I am. And I love all that I am. And I love all that I am. Namaste.
Nancy Berggren.